Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the Interledger Community Call. And so during our monthly community calls, one second. Great, thanks. Um, so we invite the community to share the projects that are being built on the Interledger protocol and also get news from across the community. So these calls are a great place to ask any questions that you have and get help from people who are directly working on the Interledger ecosystem. So we'll begin with our agenda. I have a few updates to share from the ILF side. Last month, we hosted our Interledger Summit in New Orleans, and it was wonderful to see some of you in person. And we had the summit was a great success. We had about 100 plus participants from 19 countries participate. We had about 18 grantees, and we also had about 11 students from the Bowie State University. So it was a 2.5 day celebration with talks, sessions, and also a lot of social activities. We have the day 1 and day 2 main stage live streamed. We also have them uploaded on our YouTube channel. What I'll do is I'll share those links in the chat. So if you missed attending, you could still watch them, the main stage sessions on our YouTube channel. We also have the photos. I'll also share the photos link. Yeah, so all the summit-related photos are uploaded on the Flickr. If you don't want your photos to be on the album, please let me know, and I'll have them removed. We had some amazing reflections from the community. Chris, would you like to talk about the
Yes, hi everyone. Lots of our grantees, we had specific travel stipends, lots of folks in our community we supported in various ways to participate in the summit. And so we've asked them to do some reflections. They're posted on our community space. And I actually, once I stop talking, I'll put some links in the chat. One place you can see them all, just sort of aggregated. I know that, Patrick's is up there. I see on the call, some other folks is already up there. So a great place to see some reflections, what people noticed, what people saw, what parts people appreciated. So there's a deadline for some on Friday, so you should probably see a couple roll in, and then we've just politely asked others to do it, and hopefully you'll see some of those roll in the coming weeks as well. They're actually super fascinating to read through, but I'll make sure all the links are in the chat.
Thanks, Chris. One more thing we'd be doing with respect to the summit is we would be sending a survey form to all the summit attendees to get feedback on what we could do, improve for the upcoming ones. So you could expect that tomorrow or day after. Alex has a couple of updates to share. So we have a team working on the testnet. We have 4 new developers working on it. We have Timia, Rico, Radu, and Dragos. If you are on the call, you could unmute yourself and say hello.
Hello, yes, I'm Timea here from Breakpoint, yes, and we are working on the testnet, as you mentioned, with my other 3 colleagues. Hopefully next year's other colleagues also joining, we'll see. But yeah, we are working on it and already started planning and started discussing with designer as well. So yeah, going forward with it.
Great. Thanks, Timia. And we are looking for more engineers to join. And I'll share the link to our careers page. So please feel free to spread it across your channels, across your communities. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us on the Slack. Next, we have updates from the project teams. Sabine, would you like to share updates from the Rafiki?
Sure. So we are pretty much there with getting signatures working on all the open payments requests. We have an open pull request for that. That should enable that everywhere. And then that's basically it for Rafiki. But we still have a list of 100 issues that we're going through right now and checking whether those are enhancements we want to do later, put on the roadmap for later, or these are really crucial for a release. So we are grooming that right now. It takes us quite some time because it's a long list. But like starting next year, I guess we'll just knock out all the crucial ones that are still there, and then we should have a release. Also, Max has made great progress and had help from the Breakpoint team on the client SDK. So that's very close to being finished too. I think that is the update. Unless I forgot something, then somebody else chime in, please.
Thanks, Sabine. Uchi, would you like to go next?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Vinil. And it was great meeting everyone at the ILP Summit. It was really good having that in-person connection with everyone. So updates from the Coil side. We're working on a Interledger video focused on developers. So it's going to be a very short one that explains Interledger in a term that most developers, especially in the crypto community, will be able to understand. So that will be out in the next few weeks. And also, there is, I don't know if most people have seen it, the announcement that Stefan made at the ILP Summit for DASI, the project. So for those who missed it, DASI is an Interledger P2P network. So I'm going to share a link on the blog post. So the blog post that introduces DASI, and also I will share a link to the DASI website, which currently links to the GitHub repo. So if you're looking to check out the code and how DASI is being implemented and want to follow along, this is the right place to look. So I will share those links in the chat, and that's all of the updates from Coil. Thanks, Vinil.
Thanks, Uchi. Anyone have any questions for Uchi, Sabine? Great. So Adrian from Fynbos couldn't join, so he sent a couple of updates. I'll share them out. So the Fynbos team is busy doing the beta testing in their production environment with a small group of users. They're also anticipating invite all of the users on the wait list to open an account early in January. The Fynbos team is also working with Coil to ensure Fynbos users have their payment pointers for the web monetization. The Fynbos team is also exploring new territories outside of the USA in the new year. So these are the updates from Adrian. So these are the updates we have from the projects. We have one project share from Nicole, who would like to introduce their project Elementari. Nicole, would you like to go?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I guess I felt like I had to make slides, so I just made a couple of slides. Let me go ahead and quickly share. Anyway, I have a couple of asks, but the first thing is to just give you a background of Elementari. So Elementari is an online platform. It's an educative platform to write, code, share, collaborate, interactive stories with professional illustrations and sounds. So basically our users are K-12 students and teachers. We have users mostly in the US, but it's open for around the world. We have students and teachers also just like coming in from around the world, but our paying users are mostly in the US at this point. So a little bit about me. My name is Nicole Li. I'm an MIT alum, STEM and English educator, and the co-founder of Elementari. I like to call Elementari like the mom and pop digital shop because it's basically run by myself and my husband. And you can find me on Twitter, and I do a lot of stuff promoting specifically computer science education for K-12 as well as literacy education. So I'm really glad to be here. I love to connect. I missed last time because my son unfortunately had a fever, so I was stuck dealing with him. But basically, what are coded stories anyway? There's a quick demo video that you can just kind of look at. And basically, it combines writing and computer science to create interactive digital storytelling experiences. These include animations, music, sound, voiceovers, nonlinear storytelling, and app or game-like experiences. So where does web monetization fit in all of this? Well, we actually have a library of over 16,000 professional illustrations and sounds that are contributed by individuals pretty much around the world. And we want to profit share with our contributors. And so, as you can see, we have lots of beautiful illustrations that are featured on our platform. And we have we have coding also, so that's a big thing. We call it, well, it's node-based visual coding, and it's pretty great. So yeah, I invite all of you, especially if you have kids or know of anyone who is younger, to go onto the platform and check it out. It's free for anyone to create stories. And the real joy from us is to basically have people enjoy writing and sharing and coding. So the web monetization of Elementari is pretty much split into two parts. I talked a little bit about the illustrations and sounds by artists. So when you go on Elementari, let me just go on really quick so you can take a look. But when you go on Elementari, you have some stories that are published, like here's an escape room. And we have basically the credits on the bottom, and this is all automatically generated. And we also have credits page by page. So on this page, we only have a background and an illustration. So the background is by R.H. Walsh, and the illustrations by Hello Hippo. And so what we want to do is we want to then web monetize these published stories and have probabilistic revenue sharing for the artists that have contributed to these stories. The other thing that we have opened up due to the grant, especially, is developing the entire lesson plan library. So on Elementari, since we are used by educators, we have curriculum, but right now it's very limited, and we are opening that up so anyone can contribute lesson plans. So these are, like, for example, here's a lesson plan, writing dialogue and narration from a fable. You can assign it to your classroom and have your students use this lesson, for example. So we are opening that up for teachers to contribute and web monetize their work. So it's very simple. We're just having a payment pointer, pretty standard. The asks I have from the community, though, is we want to do Elementari boosts. So I mentioned before that we plan to profit share because we do have revenue that is generated through a more traditional, subscription model from teachers and schools. And we want to distribute that to our contributors. And so we would like to do that through, Interledger protocol sort of things. And I was like, okay, this is the best place to ask where I can maybe go to, or who I can maybe talk to for how I can send money to our content creators in an efficient and effective way. So if anyone has people that I should talk to, I would love to know who those people are, so then I can get on some calls with them and we can move forward with this. And the other thing I haven't asked from the community is I think there's a lot of opportunities to share web monetization for a younger audience. And so the problem, though, is that when you look at web monetization, at least from the documents I've seen, from the videos I've seen, it's all talking to like a web developer, which is great and all, because those are the people who can use it right away. But since I work a lot in the educational space, I would really love to have maybe some insight to maybe develop educational content that is more of the lines of, oh, this is kind of what web monetization is, and explain it like a fifth grader sort of style. The other reason why I also say explain it like a fifth grader is because our users, so our content creators, aka the teachers who are creating lesson plans or the artists, they're all rather old and they're all rather non-technical. So I think it's really important that we kind of give them the why behind web monetization without going too much into the technical details, or without going too much into like trying to sell it like a wallet sort of thing, but more of a through an educational space. So those are kind of like the things I wanted to ask from the community, if anyone wants to jump in. But otherwise, I have all of my contacts here, and my Twitter is there, as well as my email. And I'd love to connect with all of you. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me. I'll put this thing in the chat if people want to take a look at it. But there we go. And thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, we have someone wants to ask a question. Please unmute yourself and share. I can't see the name, but please feel free to unmute yourself. And
hello, thanks for your presentation. Sounds very interesting. And I was wondering what kind of geographical area is this place, or is this where your proposition is working at the moment?
you're muted.
Sorry. I meant in terms of the website itself, like who can access it or who can be a contributor, or
Yeah, so the ones that you want to send the money to.
okay, so I think most of our contributors are located in the US at this time, so that's what it is. But I don't
Okay.
see a reason why anyone shouldn't be able to contribute just because they're from a different country. It's just currently at this time we are located in the US simply because the educators I'm in touch with and the standards, like the curriculum standards I'm familiar with, are US based, but it's
Clear.
open for anyone.
Yeah, okay. Well, I can imagine that maybe Fynbos is definitely aiming for that, but maybe someone else can add to that in the group. Thank you.
Chris, would you like to add to Nicole's question?
Yeah, I would say I would agree, and I've already have Nicole on a short list for when Fynbos beta is ready, but I definitely think that's a big piece, especially as a use case for US dollar, US only, which is their initial rollout. So to me, that's in terms of your asks and asks of this community, that's and where a lot of the work in Rafiki and other things has gone into making that ready. So I think that's a big piece. It is interesting to bring the use case. How do I say this? I think your asks are actually pretty germane to a lot of the work that goes on here, and how much Fynbos will help or not help, or not isn't the full solution. So obviously, with a more robust web monetization optimized digital wallet, a lot of the stuff starts to, go from walking to running. And so I think in terms of this community, how fast we can actually get Fynbos beta into the hands of people like Nicole, you and your users is going to behoove us to do that as fast as we can in next year. But I also wonder at that point because I also heard you have that ask about sort of paying your contributors directly, right? Just like a payment mechanic, for sort of small funds or small stipend amounts or whatever that is. And I do wonder at some point, does Rafiki, when is a Rafiki kind of pay with Rafiki button possible? Or could it just be done, digital wallet to digital wallet via Fynbos? I think that's a really interesting use case. And the other thing, Nicole, that I should follow up with you on is Outvoice, which is a project within the sort of Interledger ecosystem, has been figuring out ways to do small, fast payments to freelancers as a business model. So that might be something that you want to look at. And they are currently looking at ways in which Interledger could help in that business model. So those are some, being not a developer or deep into the project code, those are some ways I think that this community can immediately help. Obviously, Fynbos, who unfortunately is on the call today, I think is the fastest thing to get in your hands. Curious if other people agree or disagree.
Uchi?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole, for the presentation. And also, yeah, I agree with Chris about using because currently connecting with Interledger might not be ready immediately to use to send those payouts. So I was curious, Nicole, the people that are receiving these payments, the contributors, do you want them to receive the payment in an Interledger wallet or like to their bank account or like their traditional banking wallets? How are you thinking about it?
I mean, right now we haven't really sent too much out, so we're completely open to like having it be sent to a wallet or having it being sent. I mean, a wallet would probably be the easiest way in this context, but yeah, we're completely open to it, and it's something that we're not really pressed for in terms of a time limit. It's not like, oh, I need to have this feature out like ASAP, otherwise like the entire website is down and dead, because like I mentioned, like our core business model is still like the creating aspect of it and not really the web monetization. That's kind of like the add-on. Right now we're just sending money directly, but in the future we'd like to have it more automated. So it's completely open at this point and flexible. So yeah, Chris mentioned a whole bunch of options, and yeah, I'd love to explore those options and see what would make the most sense, especially for a long-term support, because I don't want to just implement something and then have to switch later. That would make me very sad.
So Fynbos, will be a good solution for a long time like payment provider. So Fynbos, yeah.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Uchi. Any other questions, suggestions for Nicole?
I actually had one other thing that might be interesting, just hearing you talk here. We, one of our first and I think still to date our largest grants was to Distributed Media Lab, and they were using a model of content. How do you use web monetization and payment pointers and digital wallets to facilitate a back end exchange of content sharing? Their use case was small and large publishers and collecting packages of content that would run on different pages, and then there would be a way to use web monetization to track and assign revenue from those into different wallets, and then actually Distributed Media Lab held, and then the publishers or the writers or the content creators, once there was enough in, then they were motivated to get their own wallet in which to withdraw. But basically what Distributed Media Lab did was create, with some of this technology, was to create the back-end exchange system to track and know who was using content, how it was being monetized, and then to trade, kind of have an exchange system between that collection of publishers and creators. So that's another thing, I can maybe send you links to their final grant report and see if there's anything interesting there. But because their journalism obviously so slightly different, but the same sort of, how do you create kind of a peer marketplace for content creation?
Yeah, that'd be great if you could send me those. I'd love to read through them.
Okay, I will.
Also, there is a comment by Sabine in the chat. Great. Thanks, Nicole. And so now the space is open for everyone. If you're working on Interledger protocol-based projects or if you would like to share any milestones, feel free to unmute yourself and share. Right. Thanks, everyone. So with that, we come to an end to our community call. We'll be sharing the recording and share across our community channels. We also have a Slack channel. I'm sharing the link in the chat. Feel free to join. If you have any questions, suggestions, you can drop in there. With that, thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Oh, so cute.